What if everything we thought we knew about Caryn Chandler was a lie? What if the woman who once smiled warmly beside Matt Roloff, managing the Roloff Farms with confidence and charm, wasn't the loyal partner or friend we believed her to be, but someone hiding a much darker truth behind that calm exterior? For years, Caryn Chandler appeared to be the backbone of Roloff Farms operations. She was efficient, friendly, and always seemed to have Matt's full trust. Fans saw her as the woman who helped bring stability into Matt's life after his divorce from Amy Roloff. But now, shocking new revelations are painting a completely different picture, one that could destroy everything she's built. According to recent court documents and reports, Caryn's perfect image might have been nothing more than a carefully constructed facade. Behind the cameras and cheerful smiles, investigators have allegedly uncovered financial irregularities, questionable transactions, and a possible scheme that may have directly targeted Amy Roloff herself. It's a story of ambition, betrayal, and manipulation, one that's left fans asking the same chilling question: was Caryn Chandler planning this all along? As the legal dust begins to settle, the truth is beginning to surface, a truth that could unravel the very foundation of the Roloff legacy. This isn't just another celebrity rumor. This is a case of alleged deceit that may have crossed serious ethical and legal boundaries, pulling the entire Roloff family into chaos. In this video, we'll uncover the shocking details behind Caryn Chandler's alleged secret plan, a plan that court revelations suggest involved fraud, financial deception, and betrayal at the highest level. We'll explore how Amy Roloff may have been the unsuspecting target, how Matt Roloff has been caught in the middle of this emotional storm, and what this means for the future of Little People, Big World. Because as the truth unfolds, one thing is becoming painfully clear: Caryn's game might finally be over. Stay tuned, because over the next hour we're diving deep into how Caryn allegedly defrauded Amy Roloff through hidden dealings and manipulation, the legal and emotional fallout that followed once the court began exposing the truth, and what's next for Matt, Amy, and the entire Roloff legacy now that the family's darkest secrets are finally being dragged into the light. Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. For Roloff family latest news update, please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. Before she became one of the most talked about women in the Little People, Big World universe, Caryn Chandler was just another name on the Roloff Farms payroll. For years, she worked quietly behind the scenes as the farm's manager, coordinating events, supervising pumpkin season, and making sure every guest walked away with that warm, family-friendly Roloff experience. She was known for her sharp organization skills, friendly charm, and ability to handle the chaos of thousands of visitors every autumn. To most people, Caryn was simply the backbone of the farm, reliable, hardworking, and loyal. But within the family, things were already beginning to shift. Caryn wasn't just a staff member, she was someone Matt Roloff trusted completely. He often spoke highly of her, praising her work ethic and the way she understood his vision for the farm. Over time, she wasn't just running logistics. She was involved in key planning decisions, budget discussions, and even marketing strategies. Caryn had gone from managing schedules to shaping the farm's future. It wasn't long before people started noticing how close Caryn and Matt had become. Their friendship seemed effortless, built on long hours of work, shared ambitions, and countless farm events. But when Matt and Amy Roloff's marriage began to fall apart, that same closeness suddenly became a source of controversy. Fans wondered, where exactly did the friendship end and something deeper begin? Amy Roloff, still navigating the pain of separation after nearly 3 decades of marriage, found herself watching her ex-husband grow increasingly comfortable with someone who had been part of their professional circle for years. For Amy, this wasn't just about losing a marriage. It was about losing control over something she helped build from the ground up. Her unease was clear during several Little People, Big World episodes, as she subtly expressed discomfort over Caryn's involvement in the farm and in Matt's personal life. The tension was hard to ignore. What was once a peaceful working environment now carried a quiet undercurrent of rivalry and mistrust. Fans picked up on it immediately. Social media began to light up with speculation, some defending Caryn as an innocent bystander who simply fell in love, while others accused her of crossing a line long before Matt and Amy's divorce was finalized. Still, Caryn's influence only seemed to grow. She began appearing more frequently on the show, attending family gatherings, and participating in conversations that once would have been reserved for Roloff family members only. Matt trusted her not just as a partner, but as a voice in major business decisions, from the future of Roloff Farms to potential property sales. Behind the smiles and polite exchanges, something was shifting in the dynamic of the Roloff empire. To some, Caryn was simply a supportive companion helping Matt navigate life after divorce. To others, she was quietly solidifying her place at the top, positioning herself in both his personal and professional world with calculated precision. This was the moment when the public's perception of Caryn began to fracture. The once friendly farm manager now stood at the center of growing controversy. Fans debated her intentions. Was she truly devoted to Matt, or was there a deeper, strategic motive behind her rise in influence? And as time would soon reveal, that question would only grow louder. Because behind Caryn's calm demeanor and polished public image, whispers were beginning to circulate, whispers that she was not just managing the farm but managing the people around her. That she wasn't simply along for the ride, she was slowly, deliberately taking the wheel. Was Caryn's rise to power simply the product of ambition and love? Or was it the early chapter in a much bigger plan, one that would eventually change everything for the Roloff family? The signs were there. The closeness, the trust, the quiet shifts in control. It all seemed innocent at first. But in hindsight, it may have been the beginning of a power play that would later explode into one of the most shocking controversies Little People, Big World had ever seen. As the courtroom lights dimmed and whispers filled the gallery, shocking allegations began to surface, claims that would forever alter how fans viewed Caryn Chandler. What started as quiet rumors of behind-the-scenes manipulation soon evolved into a web of alleged deceit tied directly to the financial backbone of Roloff Farms. Court documents and insider testimonies began painting a disturbing picture, one that hinted Caryn might have been involved in a carefully orchestrated plan to gain control over assets and influence decisions that were never truly hers to make. The reports claimed that Caryn's involvement went far beyond her role as Matt Roloff's supportive partner. Allegedly, she had begun quietly weaving herself into the financial structure of the family's business empire, suggesting that her influence over property sales, contracts, and internal farm operations was more deliberate than anyone initially realized. What raised eyebrows most were the patterns. The timing of certain land negotiations, the abrupt withdrawal of offers, and the sudden reallocation of profits. All events that, according to these documents, seemed to align perfectly with Caryn's growing proximity to Matt. Fans who have followed Little People, Big World for years might remember when Amy Roloff sold her share of the farm, a moment that seemed emotional but straightforward. Yet, in light of these new allegations, that sale is being looked at through a much darker lens. Reports suggest that Caryn may have played an indirect role in influencing that decision, possibly by creating pressure behind the scenes. Allegedly, Caryn saw Amy's trust and remaining financial stakes as a potential obstacle to her own future control of the Roloff estate. By gaining Matt's confidence and allegedly inserting herself into business conversations, she could subtly steer decisions toward outcomes that benefited her, not the Roloff legacy as a whole. It's this possibility that has fans and analysts alike asking, was Caryn's charm and involvement on the farm genuine devotion, or was it part of something far more strategic? Those close to the situation have described her as brilliantly calculated, a woman who knew how to appear supportive while slowly building leverage over time. Former associates reportedly commented that Caryn had a knack for understanding who held the power, and how to make them feel like she was indispensable. The allegations didn't stop at emotional manipulation. Sources close to the Roloff business operations have hinted at questionable document handling, missing receipts, sudden amendments to property-related records, and emails that raised red flags for investigators. While no definitive legal verdict has been reached, these details have sparked a wave of speculation online. Could Caryn have used her romantic relationship with Matt as a shield, allowing her to influence financial matters without drawing suspicion? As news spread, the internet ignited with outrage. Reddit threads, fan forums, and LPBW Facebook groups exploded with commentary. Some fans said they were not surprised at all, claiming they'd seen this coming since the day Amy left the farm. Others were more cautious, saying they hoped the truth was less sinister but couldn't ignore the mounting coincidences. One fan wrote, Caryn always seemed too invested in the business side of things for someone who claimed she just wanted peace and family time. Now it all makes sense. Another commenter added, "If Amy's share was manipulated in any way, it's heartbreaking because that farm represented decades of her life, her marriage, and her children's future." Meanwhile, insiders close to the Roloff family have described an atmosphere of deep mistrust in the wake of these allegations. Tension reportedly grew between Matt's children and Caryn, with some believing she was gradually taking over not only the farm, but the family narrative itself. This growing resentment fed the public's suspicion that Caryn's motives were never purely emotional. Experts in relationship dynamics point out that Caryn's alleged behavior mirrors what psychologists describe as power proximity manipulation, where an individual leverages emotional closeness to influence decisions and control resources. In this case, Caryn's connection with Matt allegedly gave her a seat at the decision-making table, a position she may have used to strengthen her own financial security. It's a story that exposes the darker side of ambition. If these allegations hold even a grain of truth, then the woman once portrayed as Matt Roloff's loving companion might have been quietly crafting a long-term strategy to reshape the Roloff empire in her favor. By this point in the story, fans were left wondering whether the relationship between Matt and Caryn was truly built on love, or on a foundation of manipulation and control. And as whispers turned into formal legal accusations, the secret plan was no longer a rumor. It had become a central question in the unfolding courtroom drama, one that threatened to shatter not just Caryn's reputation, but the very future of the Roloff legacy itself. As the courtroom doors finally opened, and the public gained a glimpse into what was really going on behind the scenes, the story took a shocking and emotional turn. For years, rumors had swirled about Caryn Chandler's growing control over Roloff Farms and her alleged influence on key financial and property decisions. But what court documents reportedly revealed painted an even darker picture, one that left fans speechless and the Roloff family reeling. According to the reports circulating online, investigators uncovered what has been described as Caryn's secret plan, a calculated series of steps aimed at consolidating control over assets connected to both Matt Roloff and, indirectly, Amy Roloff's remaining interests. The timeline of the revelations began quietly. First came the leaked financial statements. Then, months later, a subpoena reportedly unearthed a trove of emails and digital correspondence that showed Caryn's alleged involvement in discussions about property transfer strategies, trust restructuring, and even potential buyout proposals targeting Amy's former shares in the family business. The legal documents, as described by those close to the proceedings, revealed a coordinated pattern of transactions, some under shell accounts, others under consulting entities connected to farm operations. While nothing has been officially confirmed by TLC or the Roloffs themselves, fans and tabloids alike jumped on the story, calling it one of the most explosive developments in Little People, Big World history. Inside the courtroom, witnesses allegedly testified about meetings held on the farm, emails exchanged late at night, and quiet conversations about keeping everything in the right hands. Some reports claim that Caryn presented herself as a protector of the farm's legacy, while others insisted she was positioning herself for total control, even at Amy's emotional and financial expense. For Amy Roloff, the emotional impact was reportedly devastating. Sources close to her claimed she felt betrayed and blindsided, not only by the woman who once worked alongside her, but by the entire chain of events that unfolded. To Amy, Roloff Farms wasn't just a piece of property. It was the heart of her family's history, the place where her children grew up, and the symbol of everything she and Matt built together. Discovering that there may have been hidden intentions behind some of the financial moves shattered that sense of trust. Online, the reaction was immediate and intense. Fans flooded social media with outrage and disbelief. Many wrote that they always suspected Caryn was after more than love, while others demanded accountability and transparency from both Matt and TLC. Hashtags like Justice for Amy and Expose the Truth began trending among the Little People, Big World community. Meanwhile, Matt Roloff's response, or rather his lack of one, only fueled further speculation. In the midst of the storm, Matt remained notably silent, refraining from any direct comment on the allegations or the supposed court revelations. Some interpreted his silence as loyalty to Caryn, while others saw it as quiet guilt, a man caught between the woman he loves and the empire he helped create with his ex-wife. Those close to Matt described him as troubled and withdrawn in recent weeks, reportedly trying to keep the farm running while distancing himself from the growing public scrutiny. TLC producers have allegedly been scrambling behind the scenes, debating whether this new controversy could derail the future of Little People, Big World. The court exposé marked a pivotal moment, not just in the Roloff family's long-running story, but in the public's perception of what really goes on behind the gates of Roloff Farms. For years, fans had watched laughter, love, and lighthearted family drama. Now, the curtain had been pulled back, revealing what many describe as a power struggle fueled by greed, betrayal, and broken trust. As the dust settled on the courtroom revelations, one thing became clear: the Roloff legacy would never be the same again. As the court revelations rippled through the Roloff world, the emotional fallout was immediate and devastating. The once tight-knit family that viewers had grown to love on Little People, Big World suddenly found itself divided like never before. Behind the smiles and nostalgic clips of farm life, deep wounds were reopening, and old resentments were resurfacing. Amy Roloff, who had long been seen as the emotional core of the family, became the center of public sympathy once again. Her supporters flooded social media with messages of encouragement, calling her the true victim of deceit and manipulation. Fans expressed outrage over what they saw as years of betrayal, first in her marriage, and now, allegedly, in her financial dealings tied to the farm she once called home. Posts under hashtags like Justice for Amy and Team Amy Roloff began trending across fan groups as thousands voiced their anger and heartbreak. Many claimed Amy had been robbed twice, first of her marriage and now of her peace. Meanwhile, Matt Roloff found himself in an increasingly difficult position. As both the head of the family and the public face of Roloff Farms, he was trapped between loyalty to his longtime partner, Caryn, and the lingering bond he still shared with Amy through their children and shared history. Sources close to the family claimed Matt was shaken by the accusations, unsure of how to navigate the scandal without alienating those closest to him. To some, Matt's silence spoke volumes. Fans began questioning whether he knew more than he was letting on, or if, in trying to protect Caryn, he was risking everything the Roloffs had built over 2 decades. Inside the family, tension reached a boiling point. Zach and Jeremy, already known to have strained relationships with their father, were reportedly furious about how things had unfolded. They felt the family name and their mother's reputation had been dragged through the mud. Zach, who's often been protective of Amy, was said to be particularly upset by Caryn's alleged actions. Rumors circulated that he distanced himself further from Matt, declining to visit the farm and refusing to engage in family discussions about the controversy. The fracture between father and sons seemed to deepen, leaving fans heartbroken at how fame and money had torn apart what was once a symbol of unity and perseverance. And then came TLC's rumored response. Insiders hinted that network executives were closely monitoring the situation, concerned about the show's future and public image. Little People, Big World, once one of TLC's most wholesome and family-centered programs, was now facing its darkest chapter yet. The network had reportedly received calls from fans demanding Caryn's immediate removal from the show. Some even called for a complete overhaul or cancellation, until the truth was fully revealed. TLC, aware of the backlash, reportedly discussed rebranding the show around the next generation, possibly focusing more on Amy's children and grandchildren to restore viewer trust. But beyond the headlines and social media wars, the emotional toll was immense. Amy, who had spent years rebuilding her life after divorce, now faced a new wave of public scrutiny and personal pain. The betrayal cut deep not just because of the financial implications, but because it reopened old wounds she had fought so hard to heal. Friends close to Amy described her as heartbroken but resilient, determined not to let this scandal define her. Matt, on the other hand, was said to be exhausted and conflicted. Despite his outward calm, those around him claimed he was under enormous pressure, balancing his love for Caryn, his loyalty to the farm, and the mounting criticism from fans and family alike. Even Caryn's friends began to distance themselves, afraid to be caught in the middle of what was quickly becoming one of the most talked-about reality TV controversies of the decade. Fans continued to debate endlessly online, some defending Matt and Caryn, arguing that the story had been blown out of proportion, while others demanded accountability. Amy deserves justice, one comment read, capturing the general sentiment shared across dozens of fan forums. Others expressed sadness rather than anger, mourning what the Roloff family had once represented: love, perseverance, and togetherness in the face of adversity. Now that image had shattered. Fame, greed, and secrecy had taken their toll, destroying the trust that once held the Roloff family together. What had started as a heartwarming show about overcoming physical differences had evolved into a cautionary tale about the cost of ambition and betrayal under the bright lights of reality television. The question on everyone's mind was simple yet haunting: can the Roloffs ever recover from this? Caryn Chandler's reputation, once that of a supportive, hardworking figure behind the success of Little People, Big World, has now seemingly collapsed under the weight of controversy. For years, she was seen as Matt Roloff's steady partner and a behind-the-scenes powerhouse who helped the Roloff family farm flourish. Fans respected her dedication and composure, especially during turbulent moments in the family's history. But today, that image has been replaced by something far darker. The woman once known for professionalism and warmth is now being painted as a manipulator, someone accused of scheming behind the scenes for control and financial gain. Since the court exposé, Caryn's name has become synonymous with scandal. Partnerships that once seemed secure have reportedly fallen through. Endorsements, appearances, and even her public image as Matt Roloff's fiancée have been tainted by the allegations. Sources close to the production claim that TLC executives have been quietly distancing the network from her, evaluating how her presence might affect the show's already fragile reputation. The once friendly interactions between Caryn and fans on social media have evaporated, replaced by silence, a silence that speaks volumes. Before the scandal, Caryn was known for being present at nearly every public event related to Little People, Big World, and Roloff Farms. She often appeared smiling, mingling with fans, and posting cheerful updates about farm life and her relationship with Matt. But in recent months, her absence has been unmistakable. She skipped major family gatherings, fan events, and even public farm tour that she once helped organize. Her social media pages, once full of positivity and engagement, have gone quiet. No photos, no captions, no interaction. That void has only fueled speculation. Is Caryn hiding? Has she been advised to stay silent amid legal troubles? Or is this simply the quiet before a planned comeback attempt? In the world of reality television, reputation is everything, and once it's shattered, it's nearly impossible to rebuild. Caryn's former supporters now seem divided. Some believe she's being unfairly vilified, caught in the crossfire of a bitter family feud. Others insist that the revelations exposed her true character, arguing that her relationship with Matt was built not on love, but on power and control. The contrast between supportive partner and alleged manipulator couldn't be starker. Where fans once saw a loyal girlfriend, they now see a calculated figure accused of exploiting trust and influence for personal benefit. As the fallout continues, questions loom over whether Caryn can ever recover from this. Can she reinvent herself and restore her public image? Could she release a statement, an interview, or even a tell-all book to share her side of the story? Or would that only deepen the wounds and reignite public outrage? Her options appear limited. Every move she makes now will be scrutinized, dissected, and compared against the mountain of allegations that have already reshaped her identity. Emotionally, this chapter serves as a devastating reminder of how quickly ambition and control can turn toxic. Caryn's story has become a cautionary tale, a story of how a desire for influence and wealth can lead to self-destruction. She may have once believed she could manage everything: the farm, the relationship, and the public narrative, but as the truth unraveled, it revealed that control can come at an unbearable cost. In chasing power, she lost what truly mattered: trust, respect, and the chance at redemption. In the end, Caryn Chandler's career and reputation may be beyond repair. Her name, once tied to Roloff Farms and a beloved TV legacy, now carries the weight of controversy and betrayal. Whether she fades into obscurity or attempts a defiant comeback, one thing is certain: the image she once built has been shattered, and rebuilding it will take more than a public apology or a social media post. It will require something she may no longer have: the public's belief in her sincerity. Caryn's downfall stands as a chilling lesson in how quickly public admiration can turn into condemnation. What began as a story of partnership and perseverance has ended in isolation and disgrace. Her pursuit of control may have won her temporary influence, but it ultimately cost her everything: her credibility, her career, and the legacy she hoped to build alongside Matt Roloff. In the end, the truth always has a way of surfacing, no matter how deeply it's buried or how carefully it's hidden behind smiles and charm. Caryn Chandler's story, once seen as one of love and partnership, allegedly unraveled into something darker: a tale of manipulation, greed, and ambition gone too far. For years, she stood beside Matt Roloff, presenting herself as the supportive figure who wanted the best for the family. But according to the alleged reports in court exposés, it all came crashing down when her supposed plan was finally exposed. The documents, the testimonies, and the whispers all painted a disturbing picture, one that revealed not just a betrayal of trust, but a deliberate attempt to seize control and reshape the legacy of the Roloff name. And when that truth came out, everything changed. The once respected farm manager turned TV partner found herself at the center of a storm that no amount of silence could calm. Partnerships dissolved, public image shattered, and fans who once saw her as a loving presence now question every word, every gesture, and every motive. Caryn's empire of influence, carefully built over years, collapsed overnight. But amid all the chaos, Amy Roloff stood tall. Quietly, gracefully, and with incredible strength, she began to rebuild. She didn't retaliate or seek revenge. Instead, she focused on healing her family and the simple joys of life that had always defined her. Her resilience became a powerful reminder that dignity can't be bought, and that the truth, no matter how painful, will always bring light to even the darkest corners. As this chapter closes, one haunting lesson remains. Fame can give someone power, but it can also expose their deepest flaws. Greed may offer temporary victory, but it always demands a heavy price in the end. Sometimes the people who stand beside us aren't helping us climb, they're waiting for us to fall. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.